This is an awesome time to be with you. And also, I have a very awesome senior now as our guest. And I don't know if you remember having a birthday cake with, with clowns on the side, or having a birthday cake with several islands, and the name Rolling Pin. Or do you remember Gloria Y. Nichols? Or all these from the good old days of the 70s or the 60s, I think, 70s. Well, anyway, the after Rolling Pin, our guest continued on with her baking, and this lady I've always known her to be a survivor anywhere. So in any island, in any Timbuktu, she would survive. But right now, she is here in the United States, and we have to welcome her. This is none other than Maridel Mengito Anama. Hello, Maridel.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Anton, wherever you are. I mean,
Antonio.
okay. I'm from Chicago.
Yes.
I have to say Chicago the way it is said. But actually in the burbs of Chicago. But I worked down in the Loop for so many years before I decided to start working in the burbs. So that's a long
How many
story.
years have you been to in out of the Philippines?
Uh, I left Manila in '86 after the revolution.
Okay. Anyway, maybe from let's just to start, give us a story, your story of how you were, what do you remember from Rolling Pin and to now, and maybe we will be touching as your story progresses, touching on your culinary DNA, which is more sweet, I guess, than savory.
Yeah, really more.
Normally, then.
Although the last 4 years I've learned to be more savory. You cannot believe what I learned to do. But of of course, my mom is the famous Gloria Y. Nichols, and she, of course, is known for rolling pin. But before that, she started Country Bake Shop with two of
Oh
her,
yeah,
yeah,
we do.
with my Ninong Antinor Virata and Doctora Ilano.
Okay.
So there,
Where?
when in Isakpiral,
Uh huh.
in the old Ermita area.
Uh
In
huh.
fact, a friend of Leslie wrote an article and put memories of those two places, and it was really nice. I mean, I should look for. I mean, I have it on my feed. But so growing up as the daughter of Gloria Nichols was kind of difficult because at age 8 there I am wanting to enjoy summer. And before you know it, I went into boot camp. I was only 8 years old, for goodness sake, boot camp. I had to learn how to do brownies, sugar cookies, and God knows 2 or 3 other items because suddenly I was in the live show of Nora Daza.
Oh.
I was the
Okay.
first 8 year old in her show.
So Nora and Gloria knew each other.
And we were neighbors in Ermita. She had a bon vivant behind
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
right
Yes.
in that little street and all. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I was 8 years old. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was on TV showing how to make brownies and cookies, and I'm like, and then Nora Daza goes into this. Oh my goodness, you did so well. I want to tell everyone that she will be the first 8 year old in my culinary cooking school with Manila Gas. And there goes my summer. So I was 8 years old. The next youngest to me was 16. And I survived it, I guess. I learned how to make pizza and all whatever they were teaching in Manila Gas Cooking School.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I worked so well and I was so behaved, they created the children's cooking school for the next year. So I said, I want to join it. No, you're already going to go to the advanced. So there was a children's cooking school for Manila Gas, but I
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
allowed in because
What
of
year was that? Oh, by the way, Maridel,
yes.
Kylie Anama, is she your daughter or
Kylie,
your?
that's Kylie. Hi,
Yay,
Kylie.
you're the best. Love your cooking and baking. Oh, okay.
Who said that?
Kylie.
Kylie. Oh, please. She's my little clone.
Yes.
when I do our FNDs, which is family night. It used to be Friday night dinners, but we now call it family night dinners because it can be anywhere.
Mhm.
I do the prep and all that. She does the finishing.
Okay. Anyway, back muna to
So back to the Philippines.
country bake.
So no, country bake. I was pregnant. My mom was pregnant with me, and she gave birth, and then I was there, and I remember, um, the bake bread baking was on the second floor and all this. So when she moved and created rolling pin, more than 10 people joined her, of which they opened rolling pin with her in MH Del Pilar, and then she opened a big one in Cartimar Market.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, we were in Cartimar, and then when she decided to downsize, we moved it to 365 Shaw Boulevard in front of Cherry.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one. Then when Cherry moved, and we opened right beside at the 500. But by that time, when mom got tired and she was by herself, she didn't really have, like every family problems, and you let your siblings take care of it. That's past history. So then we ended up with just the one in Angela Arcade, which is our show
Mm.
place, and where she entertained people, where we entertained. When I started getting involved with the HRAP and all this, that's where we would have the meetings. And, Millie and I had to do a series of seminars to save the HRAP. And so I would
Mm.
invite the chefs there.
Yeah,
So we had the showcase there, and then kept the 500, which was our production area.
yeah.
So
I remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember you and Leslie, your husband, hanging around there. People, it was so cheesy for these two people before before Leslie would leave the office. She'd put a lipstick mark on his collar.
I
Is
know.
it
And then
really?
it became so popular that Pierre Cardin actually created a barong that had the lipstick mark.
Really?
Yes,
Because
because
of
I said, "What
you?
is it?" When I first did that, somebody said, "Les, you have to be careful because there's a lipstick mark. Maridel might see it." And then, so every day we would choose. I would choose a place to put it, like in his and these are his barongs, and he
Uh-huh.
liked it. But yeah, so somebody I don't yeah, it was the Pierre Cardin Manila group that started to make the barongs with a lipstick mark.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, trendsetters. But growing up under the shadow of a powerful woman was really hard.
Yeah.
Uh, whether with, she was a single, oh, not a single mom, but anyway, she was one of the most liberated women you could ever imagine. And she had a lot of people listening to her and all this. And she
Yep.
loved table setting. She liked designing cakes. She did the cakes for Manila's 500. So it's hard to try to be there, but by the time I left Manila, at least it wasn't. Oh, so you're the daughter of Gloria Nichols. It became, you're the mother of Maridel.
Well, your mom was a cool chick.
Yeah, I know she was. Even when she moved here, she never lost any of her, pagkasosyal.
Yeah.
Um, but I learned a lot from her, and of course, you have a rebellious stage in your life. So I didn't want to go to the UP. I wanted to go to women's and join the Bayanihan. There, I said
Okay.
it.
But you ended up in UP. Why?
Because I ended up in UP because my dad says, I'll pay for your education if you go to UP. What if I don't pass? Would you believe I passed UP? I cannot believe, with my banana brains. I mean, I was not, out of my dad's side of the family. I think I belong to the lowest of the totem pole. Sorry, Ate Vanji. My sister, my half sister, Evangeline Mingito Ortiz, was dean of the AIT for so many years.
Yeah.
I mean, and all my cousins, Lily, and my uncle and my aunt were the big honchos of UP. And there's Maridel. Where was I during college days? The moment they yelled boycott, I was in Ateneo waiting for Leslie.
Well, somebody commented, Mig said, "Speak your truth, Ma. You're just as amazing a lol as a Lola."
No, I'm
That's
actually.
nice.
But anyway, so I
So
did
anyway,
active.
what were the rolling pin days like? What was the most popular cake next to my favorite beehive?
Beehives. Yeah. Okay. We're known for the pound cake, and
Oh
our
yes,
and
yes,
our
yes.
wedding cakes were always pound cake. Always.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why a little tidbit was when my mom did the wedding cakes of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. She did the cakes of the Magsaysay, the Carlos Linda Garcia, the daughter of
Yeah, you'll show us some of those cakes later.
yeah,
What
I mean, I have
butter
some
was
of them
what
there.
butter was being used then? What butter? I'm just curious.
Well, mom used a lot of Anchor. And then for the
Yeah.
specialty ones, remember there was the Brune butter, which is
Wow,
hard to
talaga?
get now. The cake I made for Irene Marcos to Greg Araneta had Brune butter.
Wow.
I had to go search for that, for the Brune butter and then mix it with Anchor butter. So that was a big thing. But yes,
Okay,
so we were
for
doing, and
what?
then of course, chocolate cake. Oh, and I want to tell everybody, so chocolate crinkles was not known until
What?
the chocolate crinkle cookies that are so
Oh
popular.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes.
I was the first one to make them, and I have people who still remember them. And I was surprised. I said I only did it for 2 seasons, Christmas. Then I started seeing all the big bakeries having their chocolate crinkles and all this. I said, "Wow, I guess I must have started something," because
Well, you
really there was no chocolate crinkles until I,
really
yeah,
okay.
that's my own little pat on the shoulder.
So you were already doing work at Rolling Pin.
Yes, I did a lot of cake designing when mom started to pull back and just travel because my sister Patricia was with Cathay Pacific, so they
Yeah.
could travel. So then Leslie and I had to take over a lot of those things. So I started, and then I also did my own little catering business. Shout out, thank you, Glenda, for lending me your wonderful VMR waiters whenever I had an occasion to need those. But yeah, so then socially, I also got involved. My mom was president of the All Nations Women's Group, but my
Mm,
friend Kathy Velayo Yulo brought me into the Association of International College Women.
yeah.
I became president before I left for here.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. Um. Quick move to the Leslie Maridel romance. I
I
remember
was
that you were in school.
Yeah, I was in St. John's Academy in San Juan. Not too many people know about that little school, but when they were still ranking schools, we were always in the top 10. So my sister went to a school party because she already moved to Assumption, but her batch had a party, and I had to pick her up. So my cousin Anna and I came from the Herman's Hermits concert and
Aha, wow.
went to the house of
With the
Tita
Philippine
The
life.
Mulas to pick up my sister. So we were there, and a group of Ateneans were there, and Leslie was one of them, and Nan Clavicilia, and your, you know,
Yeah.
boy Herrera, and Paul Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Now this kid, I said, "Oh, how cute!" I thought he had dark hair because I was so in love with Billy Hinsky, which, by the way, I'd like everyone to know my first love was Billy Hinsky of Dino
Sino
Desi.
yun?
Dino Desi and Billy, and he just passed
Ah,
away. So it's like losing another husband. I actually
okay.
cried the way I did. Yeah. But anyway, so I thought that this guy was dark haired and all that, and we he. I didn't know that these Athenians were not used to girls from co-ed schools, because being in a co-ed school, which St. John's is, I didn't care. I mean, so I sat down beside him and was talking to him and all that, and he thought I was a floozy. It's that. So he walked me out, and we were talking and all that. And I said, "Wow, I mean, we were both 15. Okay, just we're both 15." And under the lamplight, he kissed me. And I said, and the first thing that went into my mind was, oh, there goes my 500 pesos. I only have a few months before I turn 16. If I don't get kissed by the time I'm 16, I get 500 bucks. You made me lose it. Anyway, so long story short, the next day he came to visit me, and I was flabbergasted because he wasn't as dark haired as Billy. I even asked him, did you peroxide your hair? Because mestizo pala. Anyway, so that started June 14, 1969. So we would have made what? We're now would have been 53 years if he were alive.
Wow. Yeah.
We didn't make the 50. He died just a little before that. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so we became a power couple. In fact, it became so bad because they'd say, "Oh, Gloria, I saw your son with his wife." No, that's my daughter. That's my son-in-law. He was always with my mom. He was mom's driver and gopher and all this. And then in the end, he started doing the accounts for Rolling Pin, and and did a lot of the sales work and all this. So basically, we were sucked into the business. And the only thing I did on the side was really catering for my expertise was in children's parties, obviously because of my kids growing up, and cocktails because I didn't want to do full service um, full service catering. So I would definitely, like, the weddings I did were all cocktail caterings.
Okay.
Um, so
The move to the United States.
um, my mom started a sugar flour business with somebody in South San Francisco, and then she got cheated out of it. So Les and I said, hey, you know what, we can actually continue it. And Les and I came out here for a feeler, and we realized that there is really a big market. So when I went home, a group of friends decided to back me up and Les, and we created Icing Arts.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Bal Dominguez, who was so behind me on this. And we got big accounts. But
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile, Les was here, and then the revolution happened. And they said, you know what? Why don't the two of you go there and market it and all this? So I came over with Anamite, my eldest son. At that time, I only had four kids: Anamite, JB, Bambi, and Migay was just a baby. She was born
Mm-hmm.
December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to the States. I brought Anamite with me. He was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And from a life of Riley, basically wake up at this time. And you know what life is like in Manila. I remember Bob and I talked about it. Like, he tried to adjust to that, to
Mm-hmm.
suddenly working here, to come here with nothing, basically.
Yeah.
Mm, So I considered myself new poor. Although my friend Cherie Carol Moreno would say, "Yeah, new poor. You go around in Reeboks and your diamond earrings and silk shirt to go to work." Um, my first job was at Let Them Eat Cake, which was then owned by.
Also, you did not continue with the icing
No,
arts.
no, you cannot. That's not a full time thing because here you have.
Oh,
So we needed to have jobs to sustain us for everyday living,
yeah.
because at that point, my mom and I had a little bit of a falling out. In that I said, "Why don't I just buy rolling pin from you and pay you off with Patty? Use your name and all that." But at that time, my mom was in her 60s, which I can understand because I'm in my 60s, and she didn't want to let go. So I
Mm-hmm.
told Les, in the Philippines, we're always under our parents forever. In fact, trying to buy a car, trying to buy anything. Oh yeah, you're the daughter of Gloria. We'll just put it in her name. You basically don't have an identity. So we took that big risk of coming here with no expectations other than to create icing arts, and
Mm-hmm.
market it and bring a livelihood to my favorite Manong Sevi and a group of rolling.
Oh, yeah. Manong Sevi.
Yes. In fact, my wedding bouquet and my wedding headdress was sugar flowers made by him. So
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Okay, we will talk about your cake later.
yeah. So
So,
anyway, coming here, so it was really
yeah.
a struggle. And I remember napaiyak yung daddy mo when he saw me for the first time. Remember how fat I used to be? I mean,
Uh-huh.
really so fat that when I picked up Carol Conti from the airport, I said, "I'll pick you up." She bypassed me and I was smiling at them and they went past me and I had to yell at her and say, "Hey!" And she looked at me and she says she couldn't believe that that was me. A lot of people, in fact, the rumor was that Leslie dumped me for another woman because the Ateneo group that he's close to, were talking about Leslie was with somebody else because
You lost so much weight.
I lost so much weight, and
Oh,
I thought it was a joke until we went to a little Filipino bakery, and I walked in and I was buying my stuff, and there was a guy there, and I said he looks familiar, but I didn't mind. Leslie walks in, sees the guy, and starts yelling Joel and all this. It was his classmate Joel Fair. They
oh, wait,
hugged.
wait. Hello, hello. From Sarah Marcosan. Thanks, Doc, she said. Samuel Bell. Who are these?
My son-in-law Sam Bell.
Okay. SLSJ Watson. Great to hear such impressive story from a wonderful lady, Maribel.
Oh well, they were also part of my life here.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
I
Maybe
mean,
you'll be part of the story while she's
yes, they will be.
okay.
Uh, anyway, so basically, I really had to learn a lot. I even had to go to school because Nancy, we were at UP. We were one of the first graduates of HRA. But
Mm,
when you come to the States, a rose by any other name smells as sweet, but the terminology is different. When you say
mm,
specialty restaurant in the Philippines, we mean La Tasca, Via Mare, all this high end. When you say specialty restaurant here pala, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and all, because it's a specialty. Not like with us, specialty meant something else. So I actually went to school here at the College of DuPage just to learn the language. I took Hospitality 101. And that's when
okay.
I realized that really we're saying that this is a book, but you're going to say it's another name, but it's still the book, right? I mean, and that's what I learned is a lot of us Filipinos who move here don't realize that we know a lot and our our great card is we speak English, right?
Yeah.
And we can banter and we can,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is we don't understand the idiomatic language. Like when I was working at Let Me Cake, I learned how to say, "Oh, yeah, from left field. Oh, it's a 2 minute warning, guys. Come on." And all. So you learn how to, like, suddenly I became a football fan. I cannot begin to tell you how I really loved football because of my husband. He said, "You better learn football because the Bears just won in '85." Blah blah blah. And suddenly, I was so immersed in it. Even up to now, I can still call games and yell. So my kids tell their friends,
Oh,
don't
speaking of
mind."
kids, how
Hmm.
many? So you had four, and then you had more.
Then I had one here, Kylie, my
Made,
youngest.
made in the USA.
Made in the USA. I didn't expect. I didn't expect. We didn't. I mean, can you imagine trying to raise four kids and suddenly here's a fifth? But
Yeah.
like you said, God will provide, and we were able to raise them. But living, okay, why did we choose Chicago when we could have been in sunny LA or ritzy San Francisco and all this? When Les and I traveled in '85 to meet with clients for icing arts and all this, my sister was then married to a Hyatt executive, and their corporate headquarters was in Chicago. And he told us, "I'm from California, but if you want to raise the kids, the Midwest is the best place to be." And I can tell you that I fully agree. My five kids, regardless of the 18-inch, 24-inch snowstorms or minus 30 below zero wind chill and all this, we
Yeah.
survived Chicago. So it wasn't,
Your children grew. All of them grew well. Yeah.
well, they became very close
Yeah.
because I would come home and suddenly it's all yelling because they're all playing gin rummy that my mom taught them. So they, And in winter, really, what can they do? They all have to come home from school and all this. So there was a basic sense of family ship. And I can tell you,
What was Leslie's job?
well, like a typical Athenian who was trained to always be a manager, the people above got always felt that he was above them, and then the people below him loved him. So in the end, it was great that we he worked for a bakery in Evanston called Benison's, and because of that, he had his bakery experience here. Mine was with Letamite cake. But if you saw, if you since Anton decided to make Bulgar my resume, I did work for Warburton's, which then became a Bon Fan. I worked
Yeah,
personally for Debbie Fields at Mrs.
yeah,
Fields.
Mrs. Fields. Well, is she a real person or is
Yes, she
she
is as
really
real.
exists, Mrs. Fields cookies?
Yes, she's as real and as genuine as you can. At first, even I, like, oh my God, she can stand 3 hours in 4-inch heels, left-handed, sign all the cookbooks, and not just sign Debbie Fields or whatever. She'll say, "What's the name?" And then she'll even draw little hearts and all this.
That's her real name or her
No, that's her name,
promotional
Debbie.
name?
No, her name is Debbie
Really?
Fields. Yes.
Is she still alive now?
Yes, she's younger than us, please. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she's younger than us. I have a picture with her. I think I sent it to Anton.
Yeah, yeah.
Find it. Anyway, but the funny thing is, I never tell people that I was the known like a Debbie Phillips of the Philippines, that kind of thing. And she met mom, and she loved mom. You need to bring mom with you. Mom and I were laughing because we were saying if she only knew who we were. You have the double identity in the Philippines. I was, you and I were very visible then, and then suddenly here, honey,
Nobody.
nobody
Hello,
even
who are
saw,
you?
In my mind, uh, hindi lang ninyo alam. But, later on, I did create my identity as Mrs. A. A
Yeah,
lot of
Mrs.
people call me
A.
Mrs. A.
Cupcakes and cookies.
Cupcakes and cookies. Everything I learned from Let Them Eat Cake, from Debbie Fields, from Mrs. Fields, and even longer. I put them all together and then created a persona. Actually, Les and I bought a bakery in Winnetka in the North Shore of Chicago called Michelle's Patisserie, and we changed the name to Bakery on Elm because every time we'd answer the phone, oh, is this the Bakery on Elm? So I said, you know what, let's just use that as and so we were there, and because of Leslie's great
You
personality.
are.
I mean, I am not as good as him. I'm only good because I have to sell the product. But he was genuinely. I mean, he made friends with so many people that we didn't realize who they were until after. A guy comes into the store saying hi and all this, and his name is Bill. Bill. Yeah, Bill Wirtz, just the owners of the Black Hawks, the Chicago
Oh,
Blackhawks.
okay.
Those are the kind of people. And then a shout out to Ricky Crown, who supported us all the way till we closed down. Very beautiful, unassuming husband and wife, and all this. Of course, you just didn't realize who the Crowns are until you find out that they own the Erie Crown, Rockefeller Center. But you
Oh,
never
okay.
know because they're so nice and so low
May
profile.
I ask why you had to close the business?
Well, okay. For me, I realize now owning a business here is a gamble. Either you have deep pockets, or just like Leslie and me, you make one thing and then you wheel and deal. My husband likes doing that. So but we enjoyed the the bringing out great product, making good friends, touching, moving, and inspiring people around us.
Yeah.
We closed it because the lease, there was a problem with the lease and all that. So I decided let's downsize, and we created Mrs. A's cupcakes and cookies. And we were really doing well at Old Orchard, which is a mall in the North Shore. But we were only on specialty leasing because I didn't want to do the permanent because it was too expensive.
Mhm.
And just when we were doing really well and people were looking for us, some rich, Asian doctor decided that they need a business for their family, so they bit the bullet and all this. So we were out. So we moved to Park Ridge, and again, um, it's always with a lease. No, somebody wants a place and they don't care; they'll double the price, and so your landlord says,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, when that happened the last time, I built and created that store. It was all in different shades of pink. And I did classes there, Mrs. A's cupcake classes. We did parties and all this. When that happened, Les and I looked at each other and said, you know what? No more na. We decided let's just become ordinary people. So he worked for Walgreens and for Sonesta hotels, and he loved it. No pressure. He
Yeah.
just makes your photos and all this. He rings you up, and then in the hotel, he just drives a van, and so he's enjoying himself. And I, of course, is from. I guess then you say the food DNA, your culinary DNA, right?
Mm, yeah.
The
Yes.
culinary DNA seem to have seeped into me because I can look at a season and decide, oh, I'm gonna create a cupcake. So I created the Bailey's Irish cream cupcakes for a pistachio pineapple cupcake. We were known for our red velvet and our double chocolate. In fact, people would buy our cupcakes and then test them against others, and would come back to us and say, you know, yours is the best. One of the stories of my Kylie is we get a phone call saying we need 15 dozen cupcakes. Can we pick it up in about 2 hours? And she goes, sure. You know, you scamming. She says, sure, it's going to cost you this much. And I need a credit card. The guy gives a credit card. And then she goes, oh crap, it's for real. So we scrambled and we made mango cupcakes, pistachio cupcakes, red velvet chocolate. Um, remember mango cupcakes, buko pandan, and ube cupcakes. I
They
created
loved it. Even the
and the Caucasian market loved it. In fact,
really.
the buko pandan cupcake, there was this kid from one of the exclusive schools. Once a week, he would buy a dozen for himself. He just loved the flavor of buko pandan. Anyway, so in comes the people picking up the cupcakes, and they were there exactly 2 hours later and fully paid and all this. And so she said, "So what's the cupcakes for?" Oh, we're part of the catering team for Elton John.
Wow.
Served to Elton John and everyone after the so yeah
Wow.
so yeah those are the little things. Oh, it doesn't
Okay.
matter because when
But you had other jobs other
oh yeah,
than
I worked.
uh,
I never did. Okay, I was always in bakery, but then I got the job at Cafe Nordstrom, where I actually learned to be a restaurant manager with an executive chef, and learned to really do. When you go to a Nordstrom, you think, oh yeah, it's just a cafe, but it's different because everything's cooked from scratch, made from scratch, and all this,
oh,
and it's really you want to give a fine dining experience even if they're shopping. And the 4 years I was there, I really learned a lot. And my chef Luda actually has a very successful banquet facility, and she was also working there. And I learned a lot to become a because you have to train. Like I learned how to do all the food there because you can't just become a manager without knowing. Even with Panera, I was also with Panera and I learned all of that. So when we decided to close down, I became a cook. Suddenly, after being the big honcho, and I never was not a GM, okay, never. Suddenly, I became the lowest of the low, and I was sweeping floors and making mura. I'm sorry, guys, you have to understand. I was saying, I'm now the person that I used to be bossing around, but I
yeah.
learned to cook meals in the big, stupid steam pots and all this. I mean, I fed 300 people every day.
Was that for? But you had an episode also working with assisted living and
Oh no,
dementia.
this is the start of it.
Ah, I see.
So
Okay.
when Mercy, who came with us to the States, and she helped me with the kids, and then she moved on to become she's a top honcho there for all the caregivers. She helped me get this job, and I was under a female chef, Natalie. I learned a lot from that young girl, right? I mean, and of course, shout out Edith if you ever see this. Um, I had to take 10 steps back to become a nobody
Oh
again.
well, wait, before that, since you're shouting out, Diana Jung sending love from San Francisco.
Hi there. Um, Everybody who's watching, thank you so much. I actually forced my family. I said, I want to see more than 5 or 6 people watching me.
Okay.
So anyway, um, so I learned how to cook, and then I was cooking it. It's also independent living, and then assisted living, and then there's memory care. So we would create. In fact, I learned that the place is so progressive that they actually hired somebody to create menus for memory care people.
What
Because
is memory
okay,
care?
memory cares when you have mid mid stage to late stage Alzheimer's, you're basically almost catatonic. You cannot eat, or if at all, you won't be able to hold your spoon and fork. So we they created finger foods that, let's say if the meal is meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and broccoli, that was put together and made into like either a cupcake that they can pick up and or a meatball, or made into an empanada that they can eat without having to use spoon and fork. I mean fork and
So, excuse me. So, can this be like a good example of people who are now watching who might be caring for people with Alzheimer's, that instead of making them use the utensils.
yes, yes.
Okay. Well, I hope some of you learned about this very important thing. Yeah.
It is a process. Now also the reason why when I said, oh, when I go home to Manila I want to check out see if we could do something like that. When mom was in the memory care, okay, I
Mhm.
didn't know anything about that world. I think she made sure that I learned about that world by bringing me into this particular world. I'm at Addolorata Villa, and I'm joking about, I mean, well, I'm not joking that now I'm just a glorified coffee girl and all this. Well, if I was in a diner, I'd make so much money. But kidding aside, when I finished cooking for 300 people, I had to find a place closer to home because Les got sick. And the guy, shout out to Chef Joe Gin, when he was interviewing me, I told him what I could do. He says, wow, you're doing more than what I want you to do. I said, what do you want me to do? Well, we have about 400 people here, and you're going to do all the salads and plate the desserts, blah, blah, blah. Would you believe, Nancy? I'm not a salad person, but I learned to do salads from scratch. I can make. I make buttermilk ranch dressing, Thousand Island Caesar dressing from scratch. I even heard that it was so good that people would actually put the ranch dressing on their pancakes. That's how. Um, and I made a great coleslaw, even if I'm not a coleslaw person. Basically, I'm not a salad person. Like my veggies cooked. I'm Asian. I like Chinese vegetables. I like Filipino, but I learned to do all of this.
Another shout out to you, Nikki Tesoro. Hello, Tita, from Nikki and Lanel. Hope to see
Yes,
you in the Chicago
or Manila.
or Manila soon. Wow.
Yeah, I want to go home probably in Feb. But
Okay.
anyway,
So,
um,
you said memory care and assisted living.
are two different things
Yeah.
because assisted living, you can still come to the dining room and eat. Although now we have, Nancy, there's such a thing as mechanical software. People have a hard time swallowing. And there's also the
Really?
puree for those that really cannot swallow and all this. So that you give them
I
puree.
hope I don't get to that.
You won't even know because at that point, and so we're trained to recognize, like
Mhm.
Diana, who just said hello. She was getting upset because her dad was getting but you're trained to we study how dementia sets in and how to recognize it. So you have to learn how not to feel like, oh, you're mad at me. You have to look at the person and say, that's not my dad, that's not my mom, but a shell of them. Because their brains are still there, Nancy, even Alzheimer's, no matter what, they're still there, but they cannot now communicate out.
Yeah.
So they have such a thing as what I learned in Addolorata is person-centered care. So instead of you saying, "Oh, okay, it's time to eat right now. It's time to take a shower right now. It's time to," you try to find out, like Mr. Smith takes a shower in the afternoon. Why are you forcing him in the morning? So you kind of
Mm-hmm.
now for Alzheimer's, you have to give them a bit of independence, even if they no longer have it. So you bring
Yeah.
out your clothes and all this. And then let's say in the room, make sure there are no mirrors because they get spooked.
Yeah.
You don't put carpets where they think that it's a big hole. That they so many little things that we don't understand or
And
appreciate.
also the shadowing or the
No,
5 5 p.m.
no, okay, the sundowning.
Sundowning.
Okay, sundowning is I have seen a lot of my residents at certain times of the day when the sun sets, they get a little disoriented. Oh, I need to go somewhere, or I don't know where I'm going. It is not unusual for dementia, those who are onset dementia to have sundowning. In fact,
Mhm.
sundowning is they get the disorientation is there, and you already know that the next step is to actually have them assessed for dementia in hopes that it's only dementia. Now, remember, dementia and Alzheimer's are two different things. So,
Mhm.
dementia is a matter of just losing a bit of memory, but Alzheimer's is losing almost all your functions.
Oh, okay. Um, since we're already talking about this condition, so you mentioned that Leslie got sick.
He had cancer.
Uh huh.
So I'm telling everyone, make sure that you get your colonoscopy at age 40 or 50. You need to. We
Okay.
in our being in busy lives, we sort of neglected going for the first colonoscopy and all this. And by the time we were planning to go home to Manila, because King of the Blue shout out, um, we're gonna have a big get together, and Les was excited because he and I have not been home for more than 30 years. So in 2017, we bought our tickets to go in January to join
And
all
then
the
you got sick.
friends. But that's when it was discovered from the colonoscopy, and it threw us off. And I'm telling everyone now, the bitterness that I have is, kung alam ko lang na mamamatay ka na pala, di dapat we came home na, no? But I wanted to just say thank you to Dindo Barrios and Emmy, because when they knew Les couldn't make it home, Dindo invited a group of people to go to San Francisco, and I flew Leslie there, and he gave Leslie a mini reunion. And for that, I'm forever thankful to Dindo and Emmy.
That's what friends are really
Yes,
true
but
friends.
you won't believe it. Dindo and I were actually friends. He and Leslie were not, but they realized the King of the Blues, they were such a big batch, and not all of them were close to each other, but suddenly it's as if the friendship's always been there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's
that's
why,
how it is.
yeah, and that's why it was amazing.
How are you surviving being a widow? Very short lang because we have to start captioning already.
Okay, it was really hard the first year, but my sister forced me to watch a K drama, and I kind of got out of my widow's funk. And then I met this guy, and then I have always been a fangirl.
He's
So
too young for you.
so what? He was the one who got me to want to. I actually want to learn Mandarin, and I'm trying to learn Mandarin. I learned how to sing one of his songs, and I watch all his shows. And I actually have a big fan base because I do collages of him with hashtags and all this. What I'm telling you actually is that fangirling this guy allows my mind to not think. Okay, I
Okay.
mean, basically, as a widow, I realized my husband was so popular, Nancy, that when he died, we only expected 80 to 100 people. And we had the memorial service on what would have been our 45th wedding anniversary. Sabi niya, oh, sige, send out the invitations. We're gonna have the party. So I booked the party at where I work kasi the church is there.
He
Father
was
told
still
me,
alive then.
yeah, yeah. He was, sabi niya, go ahead. In fact, we were practicing a dance and all this. And I said, Les, are you sure? Because he was already hospice. He chose hospice at home and all this.
He
And he
knew
said,
he was
yeah,
going to. Did he know he was
we
going?
know, we knew. Um,
Okay.
Sabi niya, when he was told that he had to go on hospice, he asked me, go check what it is. I said, oh, wait, this is what it is. Oh, so I have 6 months. See if we can book for Manila in January. And then let's have our anniversary. I said, Les, we're not going to make our 50th. So you want to celebrate our 45th? Yeah, yeah, go ahead, do everything. I
Okay.
did. And of course he passed away, and the anniversary, I already sent out invitations, so I told everyone, yeah, that's the same invitation for the memorial service.
Ah, you mean he passed away before the?
We did not make it.
Oh,
Yeah, just exact, he died on the 19th, and the memorial service was on the 18th, the next month. But
okay.
anyway, that's life. But
Right.
the first year is the hardest, and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
and then
All
after
right.
that, I dance wherever. The moment I hear music, I'm dancing,
That's good.
and I find humor in almost everything. And I guess he was the one who was doing that. So I guess I'm channeling him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I do have close friends. Shout out to Tony,
Yeah.
um, who've actually helped me get over a lot of it. And
Okay.
moving house, my moving to a new home with my daughter and her husband Derek, uh, very patient white guy. He has to live with his mother-in-law. Um, it removed a lot of the triggers because in our old place, I would come down or if I'm in the
Well,
toilet,
anyway,
I
Mrs.
would hear
Maridel.
her name.
Uh, this is Maridel. She will not really. She continuously.
All right, never mind.
Anyway, no,
Go ahead.
let's
What's
go.
next?
Let's do the cakes. Let's do the cakes first. Okay. So okay, there is Gloria Y. Nichols.
Yes.
The mug.
That's those two designs are specifically designs she created. The top one is the Carillion, and the other one is the Symphony.
So those became iconic cakes of Rolling
Yes.
Pin.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's of my mom.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Next. All right.
My
There is your
crinkles. This is one
prehistoric.
that my daughter
What year was that?
chocolate crinkles.
What year?
Uh, well, she
1960.
bakes it all the time, so I can't tell you what year because she just did a batch and they always look like that.
So you
But
were the first.
I created those crinkles in 1981.
You
No,
were
no,
the very first to have done that.
yes, in Manila.
Okay.
And
I
I did it for the holidays, and I packaged them in those little plastic jars with cloth on top with
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Next.
My wedding cake.
Wow. Yeah.
So
There's Lindsay.
I wanted a small cake, stacked and all this. But every call my mom had like, "Oh, your daughter's getting married." I think every call she had, the cake grew by an inch. So by the time we had this at the Marco Polo of Mrs. O'Leary, remember?
Mhm, yes.
It was floor to ceiling, and each panel, everything is in sugar, and of course it's pound cake. All of that's pound cake, 2 layers of pound cake, and each panel showed a bit of our lives, like Ateneo's Blue Eagle, St. John's
Oh, how nice.
Seahorse, the dates that we met. I mean, it had a story, and the
So
people
your
who made it have known me since I was a little girl.
so your headdress had sugar flowers.
Sugar flowers and my bouquet.
That's nice. Very nice. Okay. Who made your gown?
Uh, Karing, my costurera.
Really? Okay. Okay. Kaninong cake to?
Okay, that design my mom created, and we call it the Johnson design. She based it off of Linda Johnson's wedding cake, but this is a puslit cake for Greggy and Irene. when Mayor Bagatsing found out that we were doing the cake, he told my mom, "Sneak in a wedding cake from me." So this is the gift of Mayor and Mrs.
So may
Ramon
additional
Bagatsing
food. Okay.
at the wedding in Sarat. So this was put on the side at the other, because it was
Yeah.
yeah. So
Di
this
ba
is
wedding cakes then they had favors?
yes,
So,
yes.
little pound cakes pa rin yun. Yeah, I
Um,
remember. Just
well, with for them, I think Patty Araneta created, I think, Lalit goblets with stuff in
mm,
it. Yeah, I mean, of course, I couldn't get any because when everyone was at the wedding, Les and I were, and our three employees were walking in the hot sun, which of course was already, there was a partial eclipse at that time, so
yes.
that we could get to the airport and be one of the first to come home. Otherwise, you can imagine the
Yeah.
traffic coming home.
Okay.
The
Next.
cake, that's wait, where are you? You're on the side. Show you.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
No, no, show you. There you are.
Yeah, all right.
And that's remember Libby. She also used to do catering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Back to ano yan? Throwback.
Oh,
Okay.
throwback
Next.
talaga. Those
Okay.
are my
No, these
five.
are
Yeah, those are my five kids in our
yeah.
Mrs. A's cupcakes, in our iconic pink shirts,
Yeah.
and then
How many
also that
grandkids do you have?
I have six right now, waiting for some more maybe. My eldest grandkids are 20. My eldest Hunter is turning 22 in a few days. And there's Lynn, who's 21.
How old is Anamite?
47. I
What?
Yeah,
Really?
baby's
Anamite, shame
45.
on you.
Huh?
How did you get old?
I don't know.
No,
Uh,
oh my
the
God.
funny thing is, I said I want to date because that movie 40 Carats, remember, with Eddie Albert Jr. That was so iconic. I said, I can afford to date somebody 20 years younger than me. Then my one daughter, Migay, says to me, "Mom, Anna Might's 20 years younger than you." I said, "Oh,
How old were you when you got married?
Les was 19, I was 20.
Ah, okay. No
Honeymoon
wonder.
baby si Anna Might.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
So that's the five of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
No,
this this are
you're the last.
Leslie in all his cake that he was the cookie man. He was known as the cookie man, and he had the patience to decorate those darn cookies. I'm sloppy as a cake decorator. I'm like free flow, whereas he is so focused on it. So when he died, and people are saying, "Why don't you open again?" Wow, my cookie decorator's dead. So what? I can't do it. I don't have the patience that he did.
Yeah.
But yes, this was his passion,
Okay.
and
Mm,
enjoyment.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was his therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. Ami Besa.
Yes.
You went to New York or she went to you
No,
or
no.
you?
Oh, both. I launched her second cookbook at Mrs. A's.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we invited people. They came and met. The meet and greet and all this.
Yeah.
And you know how in the States, everyone's a tito or a tita. So all my kids were calling her Tita Amy, Tita
Yeah.
Amy. Then I have my niece, Anna Constantino, who messaged me saying, "Tita, I think we're related to her. Can you ask her if she knows?"
Mm-hmm.
So then I talked to her and said, my niece just said that we're probably really related. The Yandoks of Baguio. She goes, "Oh my God, yes, we're relatives." So now we're really actually relatives.
Okay.
So this was taken in Purple Yam in
Ah,
Brooklyn. We went to visit
okay.
her
All
2 years
right.
ago. Yeah.
Next, we have another person. Who is it?
Okay, this is Millet Raz of Millet's Cakes. She is a wonderful cake decorator, and she went into this cupcake wars.
Uh-huh.
And I had her use the store as her storefront because at the time she's only doing all her cakes at home,
Uh-huh.
and she won. She actually won.
Ah, galing.
Shout out.
Yeah,
So
right.
she's originally from Davao. She had
Ah,
her bakery in Davao.
okay. Looks very familiar. Or
Yeah, and then,
next
yeah,
week.
she's worth knowing. She's really amazing.
Ah, okay. Ado and Patis.
Yes, I went to Manila and I was so
Yeah.
lucky to get to see Ado right
Uh-uh.
before he passed away.
Yeah.
So I stayed
Okay.
with Patis, and then of course we visited Ado, and for many years, Les and I would go to all his parties.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Next,
Social.
we have, okay, ano namang
Oh, that's the Rabat wedding cake. I used mom's um carillon, but instead of the church
no,
choir,
it's not ano,
I used yeah.
most, most,
Rabat. I
yeah,
can't remember who anymore, but that was the Rabat wedding.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Shout out to my chef Jogin who believed in me and gave me the opportunity to learn how to do all the salads and salad dressings that I would
Hi,
never
chef. Yeah,
make. Yeah,
okay. Next,
so that's my chef.
yeah, more photos coming up.
That's me and Debbie Fields.
Oh, that's the, so she's alive, the real one.
And she didn't know that the one she was holding was like the Debbie Fields of the Philippines.
Mrs. Fields and Mrs. A. Okay.
Yes, yes.
What is this?
That's the
Ah,
wedding
this
cake
is the
taken at 5 in the morning.
Marcos wedding cake.
Yes. The
And it
Marcos
was
Araneta. Araneta Marcos wedding cake.
okay, so this was a all butter
Um,
and wow, it looks very
Brun butter pound cake with more than 10,000 tiny handmade sugar flowers. But the interesting story is the base that you see is more expensive than the cake. That's an antique gold base used for all the Araneta weddings. And the only reason why it's 3 tiers is because when Patti Araneta showed me the base, it was only 2 tiers. And I said to her, "Oh my God, Patti, Mrs. Marcos is gonna have a fit. She might think that ini-small na naman ng mommy ko because 2 tiers." She says, "Well, this is for what we use for all the family weddings." I said, "Please, please, can I have a third tier?" So she had somebody look in the bodega, the antique bodega of her dad, and found the third tier that would match it.
ah, okay.
So it may look like that, but do you know that that is more than 60 inches wide? That's a 60-inch base.
60 inches. Wow, about 5 feet. Tama
Yeah.
ba?
Yeah, around because the table makes it look so small, but that table is huge.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
it
and the
was
thing is, bride and groom only reached the second tier because it's really tall. It might look small, but
how did you bring it to Ilocos, di ba?
it flew on its own airplane with Leslie and three of our boys because it was
Oh,
very heavy. Because the base alone, can you imagine? It's gold leaf, antique. The base alone was so heavy. So with the cake and everything, it really needed four of them.
so there were no hitches. It was it all went well.
Oh, because I can't remember the name of the general. I'm having a senior moment, but he told the pilot, "It better get there in one piece, or you're." So
Okay,
Les said he didn't even feel his ears pop because it went so slowly up and so slowly down. He said it was almost like amazing. And yes, it got there intact.
okay, all right, good. What is this? This looks like a building.
That one of mom's earliest works that was written about. I can't remember whose mansion this is, but
Is it
it
a
was.
mansion or a
Yeah, no, it's a
building?
mansion in the Philippines, somewhere whatever. But I thought it was interesting because she had it copied, the entire place. I can't
Yeah.
remember. I don't want to say whose it was because it's one of the big 500 families, but I can't remember who.
Okay.
I have so many albums here that like they're actually marupok na, no? So
Yeah. All right. Any more photos? Okay. So you were before we end shortly.
yeah,
You said you were into the you were talking about Leslie and recovery, your recovery about your widowhood.
Yes.
So you
Um,
sing, you dance when you hear
and I
music.
make sure that 10,000 steps a day, whether it's 4,000 in dance and 6,000 in walk. And of course, at work, I do walk a lot because I don't sit down and all this. It's been hard, but I'm telling you, anyone who wants to uh, make me meet this guy, I'll be happy. And I do have very close friends from St. John's who keep me on my toes, and from UP, the group in UP, sila Marites, sila Mariles, and all this.
Shout out to them now. They might be watching.
Mariles, are you watching? And of course, the group of my St. John's group is really the strongest support, because I can be like this and even crazier, and they can just smack me down
Well,
and all this.
I have to say something about Leslie, that he was very straightforward to his destination, and the terminal,
Yes,
date that he was
yes,
given, right? But
yes.
believe ako sa kanya. Yeah.
Um, he he um he really inspired a lot of people, and even when he was passing away, Wednesday night, sabi ko sa kanya, I'm not ready to let you go. Tell those people to go away, because they give you a booklet in hospice as to what they do. And I saw him looking towards a certain side, even if he was comatose now. And I told him, I'm not ready to let you go. Tell him to go away. And then he basically almost, you could sense it all. Okay. The next day, he was really down already. And I said, Les, I think I'm ready to let you go. The moment I said that, within 4 or 5 hours, he was gone. But he held on because I was not ready.
Okay. That's
So,
very nice.
yeah.
Very nice. All
So,
right.
but in terms of being happy, you have to find your own happiness. This
Mm-hmm.
is one of mine. And of course, my grandkids and my children. And shout out to Addolorata Villa, where my residents are going to probably watch this. Hi. And of course, I want to say thank you to my friend Tony, and you, Nancy, because I watch your shows and I really get
Thank
inspired. Because,
you.
if I stayed in Manila, I probably could have done a lot more, or maybe not, because I learned everything here. To be a
Mhm.
survivor, you learn how to fall down and get back on your feet. In Manila, I heard stories like
You
one,
know how
two
to scrub
days.
floors here. You
Yeah,
learn how to, yeah.
yeah. Whereas in Manila, it's like you're stuck there, and if there's no way to go, and then you hear about. So no, I'm happy to be here because we can change our hats at any time. I can, mop the floors, or I can be senora or something. But I learned how to do everything by myself. Like
Okay.
when I talked to Sila Glenda, I said, I cut more than 50 heads of lettuce and chop them up to make my salads and everything. She goes, takes so many people to do that. I do it in 4 hours from start to finish, salads, plating them, creating the dressings and all this. And for me, it's nothing now.
And you've always been a whirligig, so
Yeah, yeah. I learned that in school, right? Time and motion study. So
yeah,
if you said,
yeah.
I'm going to take this much time, da da da, and I've learned to become like that. Ba?
Okay, bucket list.
To,
Top five only.
to meet this guy is my number one and number two.
Okay.
Number three would be to travel and visit the shrines like the Holy Sweet Infant Jesus of Prague. I've been to Paris. I've been to Amsterdam. So I want to go to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Shanghai. So I guess number one is to meet him. Number two is to go to Shanghai. I know Dean Dobarius is probably going to laugh when he sees this. Um, yes, Shanghai, so I can scope out and stalk the guy. Um, and probably see my more grandchildren, and
Okay.
my two granddaughters are not
Okay.
ready to make me a great grandmother, but
All right.
nothing really.
Last 60 seconds. Give us words that we will remember you with and inspire me.
I've learned that everything I say or do should touch, move, and inspire people. So whether it's me giving a joke that is actually for a management skill, which I do, um, I want to make people happy or just remember me as a crazy Asian woman or whatever, but always be kind, always show happiness, share your happiness. The smile you send out comes back to you. And don't let yourself go down, even if you're down already. Find a way to move back up, find some happiness. Happiness is a choice.
Yep.
And above all, love one another. Peace. Army BTS.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, Maridel, and thank you guys for watching, especially those who uh, learned about we learned about the dementia, how the,
Yes,
an
it's a big
extra
thing.
tip that you can serve them snacks instead of using the what's this, the utensils,
Yes, yes, yeah.
and also all these other things that you shared with us. Very, very informative the way you always do, Maridel. So you look young. Maybe the one of the secrets is because you really are always beaming with love and energy.
You
Yeah,
think?
yeah,
But you have to. No, you
yeah,
have to.
yeah.
Ah, look, I'm now silver disobedience.
Okay,
I
well
don't
that's good.
say white.
It
I
fits
don't
you.
say gray. Silver.
Okay, yeah, it fits you. So, guys who are watching, please also there's a replay for this, and Maridel has so many friends who have said yes, and I'm sure there will be more who will watch. Thank you, Maridel, again. You are
Thank you,
an awesome
Nancy and
senior,
Anwan.
and this is awesome senior here on our awesome planet. Thank you very much, and we will have more awesome seniors in the coming years. Merry Christmas, Maridel. God
Oh,
bless
Merry
you.
Christmas too, and Happy New Year. Keep healthy, be well.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.